Ever wonder where all those items go that you toss all together into the recycling bin or cart? How it's separated and how it's recycled? Well, what's picked up from your curb may very well come here. One of the newest, most efficient recycling processing facilities in America today, and it's right here in Central Texas. This new specialized plant at Texas Disposal Systems is making sure tons and tons of materials are diverted from landfills and reused, and it's creating dozens of green jobs. It's just one part of a larger, environmentally friendly facility. There's a lot to this 1,750-acre integrated facility here at Texas Disposal Systems, from the landfill, carbon forestry, composting operation, exotic game ranch, and the new eco-industrial park. And this is the centerpiece, the 100,000 square foot materials recovery facility, known as MRF.
We're averaging about 7% residual, which means 93% of the material that comes in the door is recycled. 93% is a great figure industry-wide.
And right here is where it all starts. Those piles right there are the roughly 70 truckloads of recyclables that come in here every day into the Texas Disposal System MRF. It is sent into the system right here, processed and sorted, goes down the line some more, and goes through several other layers of sorting by both machine and by hand, and eventually it all ends up right here. Hundreds and hundreds of these bales of the various recyclables are shipped out of this facility every day and go to various mills and processing facilities, primarily in Texas. That's 300 tons of material every day, all to be reused again. From these bales of aluminum, metal, and paper, to the different types of plastic.
These bales here are mixed 3 through 7 plastic.
And that milk jug you may have tossed in your cart just a few days ago may already be bundled up in this big stack of number 2 plastic. They're constantly loading up these bales of recyclables into 18-wheelers that take everything off to market. These materials are shipped off right now, but TDS has plans to close the recycling circle even more right here at home. They're working to encourage the processing and manufacturing of products locally within the TDS Eco-Industrial Park. It'll reduce costs, increase profits from recycling, create local jobs, reduce the carbon footprint that transporting these materials requires. Another special thing about the TDS MRF is flexibility. There are 2 sides to the plant, one for residential single stream and another for commercial, which is a lot more paper and cardboard than residential. That way they can process more material faster.
That allows us to provide recyclables processing services to you at your home, at your office, at a large-scale business, or at your school or in your multifamily apartment complex.
The focus on efficiency goes for the trucks as well. The entrance to the facility has 4 large doors, allowing up to 5 trucks to empty at once, which means little or no waiting and a quick turnaround time. The TDS MRF is expanding and evolving every day. Right now they're running 2 shifts 6 days a week. They already have nearly 100 employees with plans to grow.
As we add more processing capacity, we'll also add more jobs. We could be in the hundreds of green jobs created by this facility.
The TDS MRF, helping turn the vision of zero waste into a reality.
If you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have 30 seconds of
We do a
silence.
silence the phones first.
Sure.
So that our silence doesn't get disturbed.
Sure. Okay, thank you. So, welcome everyone to the April 2023 monthly meeting for Blockhouse Mud. We started a new thing where we were playing a video at the beginning of the meetings. Last month, we did Texas Water Foundation. We had teed up recycling with TDS, and unfortunately, we're having some computer issues, so hopefully we can play that next month. It's an interesting video, so. And to the other directors, if you have any ideas or suggestions for videos in the future, please, we're looking at 2 to 5 minutes. As well as vendors, if you have any ideas. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna do citizens communication first, and as we voted on last month, we're going to do citizens communication a little differently. You have 3 minutes. You can do it at the beginning, like you normally do, or if there's an agenda item that you're speaking about, you can talk after we discuss that agenda item, but before we vote on it. That way, you'll know kind of where we're standing on it, and you can use your 3 minutes there. So, I have 2 here. Don Tooley, would you like to speak now?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. I got Tully, I appeared before you here on March 23rd about the property on 14910 Snelling Drive. I just wanted to update you on a few things. First, I want to say that I had a conversation with the waste management person responsible for this area, thoughtful and kind person he is. He picked up all the trash that was on the curbside. I have a picture of it here. Then I took it upon myself to sweep the sidewalk, weed eat all along the curbside, clean all that up along the drive and everything, so there's no more problem having a picture. But I have some other problems. The building in the backyard is almost covered completely in black mold. I mean, it is a big health problem back there. And other one also, the grass is over 18 inches tall. It's getting to be a snake problem. I told you before, I have to go in their yard to weed eat along my fence line so the grass don't grow through my fence and everything there, and so that's how I had it. I got pictures of that on my clothes. I also spoke with the Williamson County Precinct 2 Constable Office and Mr. Anderson up there. I have his letter that I carried up there. He spoke, and I spoke with Mr. Chris Canning and the Texas Environmental Commission in regards to that property there, and they're both working. I will tell you the update that Mr. Anderson has contacted the property owners in Arizona. He knows about all of it. He's updated me on that also. So let's get a letter. But that's a picture of 14910 that had all the trash. And it's completely picked up, weeded, and looks like someone lived there. And that, I did all that on my own. The other picture here is the black mold inside that building. And it's a health problem. I'm 87 years old, that's 89. I live on oxygen for 3 liters a night. So, that mold don't do my health any good, so, but I'll leave this with you. And thank you for letting me come and talk to you. I appreciate it. I hope these can be resolved, but on it, like I said, I did talk to them, been through some knowing how to get around people. He did pick it all up at no cost to nobody whatsoever around there, so, but maybe you can get with Mr. Anderson and we can get some better ideas on, what we need to do with all this, but You know, I'm not one to complain, but, you know, I like to see the property up. I will tell you that the property across from me at, 149 and 09 sold. I think it'll close on the 8th of this coming month here, so. But the values of the property must be pretty good because, the property is selling around in there when they come around the market. Thank you, and I hope
Thank
you have
you.
a great board meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can you ask, do you want to get reps? Is that the same property?
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that.
Okay, Mr. Bennett, would you like to speak now or when the agenda item comes
I'll
up?
do it now.
Okay.
You can pass that around. So, all I wanted to do is just, make everybody aware, down at Humano, there's all these trails that we use, or you should use. They're for recreation, and some of the trails are obviously there, you know, for stormwater maintenance, you know, checking things out. And during the, storm event, a lot of them have become impassable. And, I don't know who is in charge of that, but somebody needs to start paying attention to that and some of the other trails. When you get around to that, if you need help with it, let me know. I'll be glad to operate a chainsaw or help people clear them out, you know, whatever it takes to do. It's not very challenging work, but it's tedious. So I made a little map of kind of where the areas are and some photos and stuff, and it just needs to be, I would highly recommend you try to get it all done before it's summer and people are trying to utilize those spaces. Okay? That's about it, really. Just want to make sure you're aware of it.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett.
So, y'all have a good evening?
I do have a comment to add to
Sure.
that, if that would help it. Today, Lisa and I have been discussing what things residents can do when they wanna volunteer such as that. I don't think we're gonna be allowing any chainsaws, but hand clippers, loppers, stuff like that, sign a waiver. And,
Just gonna do it then?
and
Is that what
let
you're saying?
Lisa know, like, hey, this is here, this is there, I wanna clear this up. And then we can do that, but I think we're gonna be discussing that, maybe giving it a thumbs up
Yeah,
today or
some
something
of these,
like
they're
that.
too big for loppers, you'll need some equipment, so you could let people do that, it's a good idea.
And then we'll get Trip out here for, anything that's
Sure,
requires, motors.
okay, there you go,
Roush Baseball has reached out to us for their normal help,
yeah,
as well as we've had National Junior Honor Society
Yeah.
and a few other groups that have helped so far, and we'll continue doing that.
There
But
you
thank you.
sounds good, y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.
You.
Okay, anything else on that? Any more citizens communication? Director Johnson?
I was just gonna ask if we can get that into the record, who would do that.
Yes, I agree. Mr. Chulis?
Yes.
Okay, so, let's go ahead and do consent items. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from March 8th and the 22nd of March?
I so move.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye, with support, aye. Okay, thank you. Sandy, EHC. Miss Martin, sorry.
Yeah, I was like, hey. What happened to, all the boys get Mr. and the girls get Nick? So I'm here for the Owners Association. Our next event is July 4th, which we will be working with the MUD to we do the pre-show, as you all know. We were looking at doing some water events, but Lisa and Amy looked and there's no water source, well, the water source is the fire hydrant. And so I don't think we're gonna be able to do that, but we'll get with them and try to figure out what we're doing, but we'll just kind of do our normal thing. We're also looking for food trucks. And Cecilia, I probably need to call you. You gave us somebody last year, the taco truck on 1431 or 29, or 29.
Yeah.
So I'll get with you, but I was gonna call them again and see if they come out, but we're looking for some more, if anybody has any contacts or anything. And then our next one is the Back to School Bash, which is August 12th. School starts August 16th.
Aren't you guys doing a, disc golf event,
Yeah, sorry.
I think on the day before Mother's Day?
April 13th, May 13th, I am so sorry. That is the disc golf event. We have requested permission from the MUD to move the disc golf from the 29th of April to May 13th.
Do we need to vote on that?
We did turn the information in, so yeah, I think we need to vote.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the date?
I'll do a motion.
The date change for
April
all the dates or
29th.
just the May 13th?
Just May 13th.
I'll motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All approved?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
and then just one more thing that since Robert, Mr. Young, reminded me. We had a resident come to us about a pickleball tournament. We directed them back to you, because what they want is, they wanna use the courts, they wanna, so it's obviously y'all's event. So we did do that, but there's apparently plenty of interest in the neighborhood, so.
Yeah, I ran into her today and she's, has a meeting with Amy and Lisa, so they've got that underway. Thank you.
I'm done, thank you.
All right, thank you, Sandy. And Sandy, I just sent you an email. I'm getting these emails from Food Truck Festival, so
Okay.
that might be a good connection for you.
Perfect, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, you may notice that we changed the agenda around a little bit. If it works, great. If not, we can always change it around again. I'm just, again, trying to find ways to make this more efficient. And it seems like the GM has so many things under her umbrella, and she's always at the end, and we kind of are rushing her. So we're gonna start with the GM.
Thank you very much. For your agenda item 4A1, we do have a waiver request from the Girl Scouts. Amanda Milani came in and asked if we could approve a CPR training at the Germano building at no cost to the Girl Scouts on April the 30th. I'll need approval on that today from you guys.
Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
I like Girl Scouts.
Is this open to anyone that would like to attend, do you know?
Actually, let me see.
I know in the past it has been.
She doesn't have it written.
Just CPR.
Just says a CPR class.
Yeah,
She's got 16 people attending.
Okay, so they probably did it. Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, passed.
Next, thank you. Moving on, you'll have items B and C under item 4 or agenda item 4. They're gonna be for dig dug. I have two estimates. The first one is gonna be estimate 123 SH. You'll be able to find pictures of these estimates behind the service subcommittee on tab 41. I have pictures behind my memo that will guide you in regards to the area. So here at the pavilion, whenever you're walking from the pavilion to the Walker House, we have some concrete that needs attention, as well as the drainage underneath that concrete. But most importantly, we have the railing system that's actually upside down. So it is a huge hazard that we need to get repaired. So you will see on the first proposal that I gave to you all, that will cover the demo of the existing sidewalk, the bridge underneath it, the hand railing. We'll have all of the spoils removed off, and then we'll go in and they'll install new rebar, redo the bridge underneath that, and add new hand railing to it at $11,665. And then there's an additional one from Dig Dug, and that's gonna be for 7 panels of shifting sidewalk coming to that little bridge area and then also leaving it, so it's on each side of it. And again, you'll see those pictures behind tab 41. And that comes out to 3536. Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, so do we want to go ahead and do a motion for those two? Do you have a motion?
I'll do the motion for discussion.
A second?
Second.
Okay, discussion?
Yeah, I walk this every day, that you and I had this conversation earlier. I don't see the need to actually replace that fence, or it's not pointed, it's like 1 inch, barely a blunt object. So it's been there for about 5 years, and I don't think there's been any hazard. The sidewalks have actually already been patched over, so I don't know if it's necessary to do it now. We've got so many other projects, that's just my thought. I don't see the danger to it.
I think that writing,
Let's go around. Director Shoemaker?
My question I was gonna actually ask Lisa is, maybe didn't hear her. So I read their estimates, they're gonna replace the sidewalk in this section entirely, right? So this would be a take out and replace. I guess the question I had is, So I'm guessing we can't reuse the handrail if they do that?
No, it's so corroded, there's nothing really left of it, especially underneath, there isn't anything that's actually holding on to the bolts. So the metal is actually corroded.
Gotcha.
Anything else, Director Shoemaker?
I may have a follow-up, but let me,
Okay.
some chewing through, look at the
Sure,
pictures.
Director,
I'm in favor of finding a solution where it doesn't require the handrails, but I understand maybe that can't be done. As far as that little nub coming up, I think that's, somebody's riding a bicycle, they've got a helmet on, but it's just enough to poke out an eye. It's enough, and I do think that just because we've had 5 safe years, I don't think that that's going to last. Even if we just take a rail and put it over top of that or something, but I would like to see those nubs filed down or something.
Okay, Director Johnson?
Yeah, I mean, I do wonder about a full replacement. It would be interesting to see if we could do something that eliminates the albeit small risk of those little nubs, for lack of a better word, without necessarily tearing out the whole thing.
But I'll tell you, like riding the bikes really quick, if you accidentally like lose a little balance and those metal rails, they'll just knock your steering wheel to the right and you're going off one way or another.
Okay,
Like,
I haven't had a chance to address this. My one question is, we have fixed those before, the sidewalks, so is there something they're gonna do so that they don't shift again? Because they're always gonna shift with the stuff underground.
Rebar, better rebar, that's why they put in an 18-inch, I believe that it is on the rebar. So the better rebar, the more rebar you have, less shifting of any type of concrete.
Okay, let's go around one more time, if you don't mind, Director Roberts.
Yeah, I think that, I certainly recommend that we start getting a couple of bids on these instead of just one contractor, because they seem to be getting a lot of the business, so that's one of my concerns. The other thing is that we can be more competitive bid. I think it would just be fair to the district. So I still think that maybe we can partially, put a railing up. You don't need to do the entire railing, just for that little high point, because it's got a little bit of a drop off, but not a significant one. And that's just to keep somebody from falling and breaking an ankle. I think we could probably do a little bit more cost effective spend of money.
Director Shoemaker?
I guess, and I kind of always wonder this even as a resident, because look at the picture. Part of the railing I get is near where the water goes underneath, right? But the part's not, I mean, I feel like it would not be potentially more cost effective to remove the railing and perhaps add a little bit of fill. I know it's changing the scope, but like, would it perhaps not make more sense just for a variety of reasons to like, maybe try to get the grade of the ground up to the sidewalk? We wouldn't need a railing, there wouldn't be a drop off, right? Like, I guess, I kind of view that like, if the railing we think is a hazard, we want to consider removing as much of it as we can. If we don't need all of it, maybe only leave a couple fewer panels, right? But I guess I'd like to kind of have some broader discussion about what we can do, because I think to Director Logan's point, putting where you are will probably help, but there's tree roots and stuff under there. I guess I'd like to kind of think about kind of more a holistic way to try to get at this, but, so I mean.
Okay, go ahead, Director Young.
I think we could certainly look into wood, which would be easier to make adjustments on as things happen. I mean, we have the bridge, it's made out of wood, we can do wood there. I do prefer more permanent solutions or easily maintained solutions over big rebuilds every time.
Okay, Director Johnson?
I think I'm good.
Okay, I would like to suggest, if everyone's in agreement, why don't we let the subcommittee work with the GM and take all your considerations in, and maybe not to exceed a certain amount, and see if we can't do something that's not to exceed what is here, but with your ideas.
Okay,
Are
thank you.
you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay,
That sounds good.
okay, thank you, and thank you, Lisa, for bringing that.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah, thank you for the work on it.
Yeah.
So we don't need to have a whole nother meeting and another vote, do we?
No.
We're gonna vote, okay.
So should we direct a not to exceed?
Not to exceed I would say 15,000 is what was here, so let's say not to exceed 10,000, hopefully it's much less than that.
Okay.
And again, it's up to the subcommittee and the GM. Okay.
And real quick, is that combining B
The
and
two.
C? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Very good, moving on, you'll have item D, most dependable fountains.
do you have a
Is
question?
that just a directive?
It was a directive,
Okay.
No action.
correct.
sorry.
So item D, I have 3 conversion kits for water fountains out here. We've had so many issues with water fountains. One of the most important things we need to do is make sure that we can maintain them during the winter season. So right now, the way that these water fountains are configured on the inside, they don't have a freeze adapter to allow for us to be able to drain them properly. By going in, adding these kits, then that will allow for us to be able to drain these properly and not lose fountains in the future. So these kits are really viable. Your proposal is in the packet at $775 for those 3 kits. Shall I keep going?
Motion to approve, second?
Second.
Any more, any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, pass.
Thank you.
E?
Moving on, E is going to be a drinking fountain with a docking station on it, actually for the BMX bike park. What you have in your packet right now actually is a proposal that wasn't updated, so the freight went from $750 down to $550, so the actual cost is $48.45. And if you have questions, I can answer on that one, but that's what I'm looking for today is approval on that one. And let me go ahead and just include also F, which is part of that. So our plumber is bidding at $1,800 to go out there, pour the slab, and then also install the fountain. So you're looking at both of them encompassing together. The quote for the fountain itself from Most Dependable Fountains, and then also the quote for the plumber to go in and install.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve
I will.
D and E
Can I have
together?
a quick question? real quick?
Well, let's get a second.
Okay, sorry.
Just to be clear, it's F, right?
E and F.
E and F.
E and F,
E and
I'm
F.
sorry, I
That's
said
okay, I just
E.
wanna make sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're right.
that's, okay.
E and F.
I'll second for
Okay.
So I just,
conversation.
Yeah, go
okay,
ahead.
is it okay if I make?
Yeah,
Yeah, sure. No, I
So do we have that same freeze prevention in this bid?
Yes, actually, the ones that we are buying the kits for, we got those through the doggy pot. These are from Most Dependable. That's the water fountain place we want to buy
So it
from in the
already has
future,
it
and
in?
it already has it in
Okay,
there. Mhm.
that's, I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure that.
Okay, go ahead.
Just a quick question, is this is the only water fountain we have on that side of the road,
We
right?
got, yes, that will be the
That's-
only water fountain, it will be, yes.
Okay, that's what I make sure, thank you.
And the plumber that we're using now is very knowledgeable on how to
Absolutely, make
get
sure
them,
that,
they're ready for the freeze. Okay,
absolutely.
okay. Director Young?
No comments.
Director Johnson?
No comments.
Director Roberts?
Yeah, one more question. What about the warranty? Because we get all these, we've spent like so much money on these water fountains and then the installation of it. Do we have good warranties?
We have a 5-year warranty on them, yes
And
ma'am.
then the plumber?
And then
does
the
he
plumber,
want
he's a
his-
1-year warranty on his work, yes ma'am.
Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it passed. Great, go to G.
Very good, the next one's going to be, I am going to look for an authorization from the board today to be able to purchase water fountains mounted on the walls at both Apache and Tumlinson. I'm looking at a not to exceed $5,000. Most Dependable did not have water fountains that we were looking for that were light enough to put on the wall. They were way too heavy, so I'll need to look for another vendor
Is that 5,000 per fountain?
for both.
For both of them?
And those are just replacements, not additions?
That's correct.
Because they're broken.
Both of them are beyond repair. Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that supplemental or did I miss it in my packet?
It's
No.
4G.
It's 4G.
Oh, it's
4G.
4G. Well, wait a minute.
It's right there, it's right, oh, it's not an item in the package, he's asking
I
to
was-
look. We
'Cause, yeah,
don't
it's
have
just
a bid yet.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Thank you.
did we have, okay, so, do we need to do a motion?
Well, do we know what the dollar amount is?
A 5,000 for both?
5,000, okay.
Can we direct her, or do we need a motion?
I think she can do so directly.
Okay, so if the board is okay, can I direct Lisa to look for that tonight to exceed 5,000?
With warranties and all that?
Yeah.
Yes.
But yes.
Okay,
Good with that.
alright, there's a directed. Okay. 5?
So on 5 actually falls into 6, which is upkeeping the fences in Blockhouse. And the first fence we're gonna discuss is Highway 183, the entrance. I call that the pony fence. It's actually on each side of the district whenever you're driving in. Sean, do you want to discuss your findings before we discuss the estimates?
Yeah, I'm happy to do
Very
that.
good.
So you guys had directed me just to take a quick look at The authority for the fences, and I'm not point up here, I guess for my own edification, but just to make sure we're all on the same page here, we're right here. And we've got monumentation down here, we've got the fences running essentially all along the property here up to the railroad tracks.
And is that county right away, correct?
It is county right away, and so you all have a license agreement that was put in place, I think, about 1990, it's been amended 4 times. The license agreement explicitly provides for fencing and the installation of fencing. So certainly you can keep it up, and I did talk to a colleague about it, and it's clear, I was concerned about it being a boundary fence. It's not a boundary fence, it actually winds around when it gets to the front, so it's clearly catering specifically to the landscaping that's here. So I think you have the authority to repair, replace, or remove that fencing as you desire.
Okay, Lisa?
So if you guys choose to repair the fallen fence, Dig Dug does have a proposal in there, proposal 153SH, and that's coming in at $15,600. I also did go to Empire Fencing, and you'll be able to see their proposal behind Dig Dug's, and they actually did a rendering. We're looking at more of a vinyl fencing at $37,000. This obviously has a more weathered wear and tear, so that way you're not replacing it as often, but it does come with warranty, both of them do. It's just a matter of what y'all's preference is.
And the cost to just take it down?
So if you just take it down, Dig Dug actually didn't give me that, but they did quote it at $5,000, and I believe, well, neither one of them did, but it's.
I think you had the quote last month.
Yeah, it's roughly about
5,000-6,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I don't think we can really just do a motion. Let's have a quick discussion. Director Young, share your preference.
So, having driven that recently and taken a look at it, it is a bit of an eyesore, but it's also behind well manicured mounds of green grass. We know where the barrier boundary is for Blockhouse. And if you look on that map, there's also we're running out of space for commercial developments. Soon enough, that's going to be purchased by somebody, and they're gonna put up, whatever they're gonna put up. I think we should remove it and stop paying for maintenance and upkeep on that fence.
Director Johnson.
Yeah, I'm conflicted. That makes logical sense to me. I do think the fence, when it looks good, which it doesn't now, of course, when it looks good, I think it does look good. So I guess my instinct is to go with the lower amount, only because I don't know what larger scope of things we're gonna do with fencing, and so I wouldn't wanna go with the 37, even though I realize that might be long-term. That would be a long-term investment, but I don't know if we want that there. So I guess I'm a little conflicted, to be honest, between taking it down and seeing what we do next versus the lighter option and then seeing what we do next, so.
Okay. Director Roberts.
I'm in some concurrence with you, but I also think aesthetically it does invite them, that's like the main entry, gets a lot of traffic that comes through there. So it's kind of like how you continue to show the neighborhood and be in a pride way, and I think, be proud of that entry is critical. I'm not thrilled about spending a lot of money, but I think $15,000 to bring it up in good repair and let it last for another 5 or 7 years, and by then, who knows, Robert, we may have development that tears it down, So I'm kind of in concurrence with the 15,000.
Okay, Director Shoemaker.
Yeah, I guess I don't think I could go for the 37,000. One, because I think it's a little bit too much, but also because I also have real questions about this is Texas, the long-term durability of vinyl in the sun, right? Like, you'll spend all this money and then it may not look bad like it looks now, but it'll look faded and worn, right? I do have a little bit of heartburn about spending, I guess, we're in this for $5,000 to $6,000 regardless, right? So the question, I guess, really is, do you want to spend an extra 10 to repair the fence and have a fence? Because I'm with Director Johns, like, I have a little heartburn about this too, because I'm like, things they tend to inside the neighborhood, right? And I guess to Director Young's point, like, there's a lot of landscaping in the mounds. Like, honestly, if we wanted to potentially we could look at putting additional planted landscaping, right, that might be more durable, need less maintenance, to kind of like offset the loss, like bushes, shrubs, other plants. Now, if we decide to take it down, that might be able to offset some of the visual loss.
Yeah, I kind of agree with everything that's been stated. I'm leaning more towards taking it down just because of the cost of it right now. So, does anybody have a motion?
I'd like to continue discussion.
Oh, sure, we can go around one more time.
replacing it for the $37,000 means we've got a good fence for, 10 years or something like that. Mending it means we're gonna need to mend it again next year. I'd like to focus on the fences around the right of way and not extend any extra budget to what's going on there. And then, we could always rebuild it if we need to, and we can have a 10-year fence.
Okay, so we're gonna go around, as I said, but let's just make sure that we don't repeat what we've already said. If you have something new to add, just to help us kind of move along. Director Johnson.
Still conflicted, I'm nothing new to add.
Okay, Director Roberts.
I'm just gonna make a motion to approve that 15,600.
Okay, is there?
Could I have one last comment?
Sure.
Or do we need a second, because I don't want to just say dispose or vote, should I get, well, if you want to do a second, then I can say something if you want to do that.
Well, I didn't let everyone finish, so
Okay.
let's let Director Shoemaker and then.
But, I guess my thing is, if we do agree to, I guess if I'll make a second motion, I guess a comment was like, if we agree to remove the fence, I'd like to direct Lisa to look into with, our landscaping folks about potentially planting things to kind of like provide a visual break, but, you know, something to kind of fill in for the lost fence, but perhaps in a more affordable, manageable way.
I'm sorry, she was looking for a trip.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I don't think 15,000 will get you much landscaping.
But the thing is, we also don't have to do it once, kind of to look into that, like.
Okay, all right, so Director Roberts, what is your motion?
To approve 15,000, which is to spend money for a change.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any more discussion on Director Roberts' motion? Anything new to add? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye or nay.
Okay. Okay, so, do I have another motion? Which would be to tear it down or to completely replace it?
I would like to have a motion for tearing it down.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any new discussion on that item? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Nay.
Okay, all right, thank you. Let's move on. And maybe do a communication out to the residents, just so they know.
Yeah,
going on.
And,
that didn't fall down.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
and include in the, in there that we're gonna look into alternate, landscaping type things, trees, crepe myrtles,
Thank you, Lisa.
mountain laurels.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good.
Okay, number 7.
Number 7, what do we have next? We've got Empire Fence, this is gonna be backyard fences. So your first one is going to actually be for 3117 Port Ann Way, which actually butts up to the backside of the Apache parking lot when you're driving in. Apparently we had a hit and run. I couldn't catch them on camera, it's just too far away. I talked with Lisa Cooch with TML, and we have $1,000 deductible, and the repair is actually $1,350. So it didn't do us any good to try and go through insurance. Empire will come out, they'll do the Black Kettle fence, which is here off of Blockhouse. They'll already be mobilized, they can knock this out in the same day. So I do recommend that one, but I'll need to approve.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
Moving on, item 8, you'll be able to see that I have Empire Fence proposal for 1323 Mojave Bend, and we did include the pictures for that. This resident let us actually walk into her backyard. She butts up close to the HEB Center. You can kind of see where she has a plastic table that's actually holding that backside back there. She has some really big dogs, and she needs help. I mean, the fence is literally, not even the poles. I don't know if it's obviously been with time, the concrete's shifted, nothing is stable back there. That poor lady's just holding on to that fence as best she can, but they need help. So that's the proposal, and we had options on how we wanted to do it. We discussed with him that we would look at going the 6 foot, obviously, and doing the full extension of it. Comes out to $5,125.
So you have a motion to approve, but I do want
A second.
discussion.
So I'll second to discuss, yeah.
Okay, Director Roberts.
Yeah, so when you say her dogs are the one tearing the fence up?
No, I'm saying that the fence has already been deteriorating. She said probably for the last 5 or 10 years. Having her dogs back there now with the hole, it concerns her and scares her because people still do walk back in that area and they can become aggressive and they have a huge hole.
Okay.
So
Sure.
So
Yeah.
my thinking is that maybe she should take a little responsibility since the district maintains it for her
Yeah.
to kind of control the dogs a little bit, but
Yeah,
that's
her-
just my thought.
Her backyard is immaculate, it's just the fencing itself.
Okay, Director Shoemaker.
Oh, no, I just wanted to make the second to get the discussion, it's, so basically, okay, I'm looking at the map, I think I don't have any questions, I think I'm good looking at the diagram.
Okay,
so.
I don't have any discussion, Director.
Yeah, I'm just curious, is this fitting in with the whole fixing the entire right-of-way fence? Like, if we do something now to fix this for $5,000, are we going to do a green fence in 3 months and start painting it green and then have to repaint that, or like, maybe the general direction that everybody's going on the fence, and hoping that we're not gonna be throwing money away because we're gonna change things. We're looking at the bigger picture,
Yeah,
and this is the direction we're going.
This is it's considered part of the right-of-way fence, and so it actually is part of the mud itself. I'm sure other people would like to have theirs given attention to, but given that the state of hers right now, we need help.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Director Johnson.
No discussion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I, tell me how best to do this. There's
Sure.
another section of fence that needs attention, over on House Creek. It came down.
Can you send it to me?
I-
Just send me the
I'll
address,
just send it,
that's
of
all I
course,
need.
yeah.
And I guess, this can maybe come up later, but would,
Yes, 700,
What was it again?
700, House Creek.
making a priority list.
Yes, so my intention after this meeting is actually doing a drive to the full district, getting a drop pin of every area that is visually needing assistance right away, bringing those proposals back to you. I will work at bringing other vendors in. Empire has just been helping quite a bit, and they were able, and it's really about scheduling right now. So I will bring all of that list back in the month of May, so you all can see exactly where we have some really deteriorated fences.
Thank you, I know there definitely is, I'd like to start that process.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Ready to vote on that?
One question.
I think it was just, I was about that, it was direct, it was good for.
No, did we vote on it?
Yes, yes, you did.
Okay.
We did, yeah.
So may I just add one more comment? So, what is the actual requirements when it comes to bidding, for the fence? I mean, what are the limits that we have to go out for RFPs?
Yeah, so if you
Just for
have
education
an
more than
anticipated job that's gonna be between 25 and 75, you have to request 3 bids, and then if you're gonna go north of 75K, you have to competitively bid it.
You have to publicly advertise it, there's all
Yeah.
kinds of advertisement requirements in the paper.
And that's not just for the fence, that's for any,
Anything,
right?
any not professional service, any kind of construction related.
Okay.
I just
So-
wanted to make sure we all understood that.
So, we're discussing the fence, and I think we're kind of focusing on the wooden part, but we also have some, those stone columns that need repair. Can you include that as you do your go-around? Because I know of at least one of those that's deteriorating right over there by the school.
Any areas that you already know of, if you could just send me an address, that helps me. That, like I said, I'm gonna put everything together in a pin drop form so we can Google it and be able to see.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
sure.
Okay, let's move on. Number 9, rental of the Walker House. So this was my item. We've had several residents inquire about renting the Walker House. We used to have it available for rental. Lisa and I were talking about it, and I was like, well, you know, I was kind of leaning yes, open it back up, but then I realized it's completely set up differently now. This room is now our boardroom. We've got the owl system. We have the offices there. If one person came in to rent it, we'd have to completely remove everything here. So I just don't think it's feasible anymore. So I think we need to consider that when we're looking at the park rules, because that is part of the park rules, and I did remove that, so keep that in mind. So just kind of think about that when we're going to that agenda item.
That's a good comment, because I've been thinking about the same thing. I said it's almost impossible to let someone use it, because I mean, there's only one room left, and
Yeah.
it makes it like very difficult with this table.
Right,
Unless they wanted to have a meeting, that'd be the only real function, we wouldn't have to move.
but
it.
then we'd have to tear down the owls and all
Oh,
that.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
even share that,
so-
meant,
Yeah.
yeah, function wise, it's really.
Yeah. Okay, all right, good. So let's go ahead and move on to 10. 10 is the Williamson County Road and Park Bond election. So there's like 12,000 pages in our packet.
Sorry.
And just for future, if there's something that is that large, let's not put it in the packet. That can be sent up to us separately. It can still be open records, you know, that type of thing. But that really took up a lot of space for people that have their packet printed out. How about, I reviewed it, I talked to Sean about it, so I'm gonna give you 2 minutes
Sure.
to discuss it, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Basically, the county has come out and solicited input, that's what I would characterize it is input from water districts or the public as to any project districts particularly may have regarding roadway, transportation, or parks and trails, mainly trails improvements. They have a sentence in their solicitation which refers to how those improvements that the district might propose would mesh in, my words, not theirs, but be compatible, be complementary with the adopted Williamson County Regional Transportation Plan and the Williamson County Parks Trail Plan, which is the documents that take up some of my space, and I apologize, I should have thought of that. Nevertheless, in looking at those documents that the county's published and the maps that go with that, we don't have any, nor are any of those Williamson County improvements proposed in our area. Really kind of not even close to our area, really. And so if the success, if you will, of the district, of any district getting something included in the bond election, because it's got to go through committees and things like that, it seems to be that it would need to complement those two regional plans. We just don't have anything like that. I'll be honest, the same information went out to a number of our other districts. You know, Lisa and I kind of exchanged some emails about that on some others, and I'm not seeing that any of our districts are really in a position to realistically expect to be successful should they submit some information. And so it was that, and I don't mean to be a downer about not submitting, and certainly it would be up to the board's decision if you wanted to submit something. I know you have a wonderful green belt in the middle of our project. Not sure how much you want to open that up, because if it's a Williamson County improvement, it's open to the public. Just case in point. So that just provided some information back to Lisa, and I apologize again for getting too much to pack it. But I would subject to Lisa's input or anybody or the board's decision, I would not recommend, spending any time responding to it formally.
Okay, Lisa, do you have any more to add to that?
No, I agree with them.
Okay, so I want to just go around real quickly, because I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on this agenda item. Director Shoemaker.
Well, just because David, I was looking at their map of trails and stuff.
Yeah.
They're doing something across 183 and the creek. I don't know if it's necessarily a response item, but I guess we should make sure we've got a good line of communication with them on that in case, you're basically building where people are gonna be able to walk under the bridge onto our green belt, right? So that's, I don't know if we can really block that.
Yeah.
I'd like to make sure that we're working with the county, so whenever they do something that we've got some input to make sure they don't build a funnel into our place without any approval from us.
I think the main point that you just said is good communication with the county whenever they do something. And I actually reached out to Commissioner Long's office yesterday and today, and I was pretty disappointed in their lack of communication with their cleanup here, with their FEMA funds, and shared that with Road and Bridge and the Commissioner's office. So I agree with you, and Lisa, I know you guys have tried and you're doing a good job, but continue to try to communicate with them.
Absolutely.
And however we can help you out with that.
Yes.
Director Young.
No comments.
Director Johnson.
No comments.
Okay, so,
Do we need, no, it's okay. Do we need to actually respond in a way that we're not favorable of connecting our parks, or do we just leave it null and void?
If we don't respond, that's a response.
Yeah, and I will just say that the chairman of the committee, if you will, is trying to put this bond package together, is a former county commissioner, it's David Hayes, who's very active in the area. If there's a concern that the district has regarding what was mentioned a moment ago, it certainly wouldn't hurt to drop a communication to David and just let him know that.
Okay.
So, just FYI.
okay, great.
Yeah.
This isn't related, but,
And I'm grateful for the colored copies, thank you.
I think,
yeah, but let's not do that again.
okay, I'm sorry.
And we do have a new engineer with Road and Bridge. Adam
Boatwright?
Boatwright. That's right,
He's
just
Yeah,
been
FYI.
with the
He's just
county
learning
for a long time, he's just in a new position.
Yeah.
So when you said we, you meant
The
the
county,
county?
the county.
Okay, not the,
Right.
okay.
Okay, so no action on that item. Let's go ahead and move to
Williams County.
PR communications, report from the sheriff's office.
So, the hit and run, obviously with the park, I was notified about that, and I'm sorry that I failed to notify you. It was when the conference was going on, and we were so busy, I didn't notify you about it. I guess when Deputy Bartlett checked on, he noticed it, checked with dispatch, it had already been reported, so I apologize for not informing you guys about that. Deputy Norvell, after this month, will no longer be with the contract. Family life, he just can't do it anymore. I do have a question. I guess it was brought to my attention in some emails, what I am allowed to discuss when you guys call on me. I was told that if I wanted to make a statement, I now need to put it in the agenda item packet. So I guess I'm just not clear on what I'm allowed to talk about. And also, it was also brought to my attention that my comment last month possibly caused drama. That was not my intention. So I want to apologize for that if anybody took it that way. That wasn't my intention. I just wanted to let the board know if there's any issues, please come to me.
Yeah.
That wasn't my intention to cause a problem.
I actually think, there's a subcommittee, you have a subcommittee that works with you, and I'm gonna direct that subcommittee to meet with you, before the next meeting. When we started with this new board, I directed all the, directors to meet with all the vendors. So they get to know them and establish a relationship, since we have 3 new people here. So, I don't think that you've met with your subcommittee yet in person, and with the GM, so, and if have you all met with CAMS?
No.
Not in person, no.
Not in person, but we've met with them several times.
I want to, but we just
So
haven't.
we're gonna do a Zoom meeting for them to meet,
Okay,
and then Jack will
okay.
be here in June.
Okay, all right. Is there any other vendors that you all have not met with? Okay, so that's my directive. Okay, is there anything else from the board?
Yeah. I just wanna, like, clarify things. Let me pass on this and let somebody else take a turn if they have anything. I'm trying to organize my thoughts here.
Okay.
This was,
Director Johnson,
No comments.
Director Roberts.
Yeah, I'm not real clear on exactly what you've been directed to do, because I need to know what the purpose was that you had to bring an agenda item to be able to even talk, because you should be able to talk to this full board without having any parameters or limitations on your conversations with this board.
That's why I wanted,
Yeah,
that's
no.
why I wanted to understand on what I can speak on, because I was informed that I need to now talk to you guys, put it in the agenda item packet,
Hang on a second.
before I can talk about anything.
So I think that it's very imperative, you're a contractor just like Lisa is and David Gray and our landscaper. So you should have the ability to inform this board of any concerns that you have at all. And I think your reports also state some things, so it concerns me that somebody's communicating with you that you have to do it this way without board approval.
Okay, so Director Shoemaker?
Well, do you want to say something directly about those?
No, I was gonna let Director Young speak, because I think the communication is between the two of them, and I think there's miscommunication here, so let's clear.
so I wanna be clear that any contractor is allowed to report anything that they would like to hear, at the meeting. But the purposes of these subcommittee meetings is to iron out what we can, beforehand, and then go from there. I would like to be able to figure things out before spending everybody's time. And then if we can't, then we can bring it to everybody's attention and debate whatever it is. But you're always welcome to report whatever you feel is necessary. But if something's gonna be like negative about a board member or whatever, let's try and figure things out first. Although you're certainly welcome to skip that step and go straight to the board as well.
Well, and that was my intention of not mentioning any names last week, is I just wanted to make that general statement and leave it at that. Just if there's any issues, please come to me. It wasn't meant to cause any issues and.
And so, to be clear, I have been trying to come to you since that meeting. I think I've got at least 3 meeting requests directly from me, and I think we've had at least 2 from Amy trying to sit down. And I also understand from your reporting.
But I also advised you that this month it would not be possible. We had the sheriff's conference, I had my boys' mid-season tournament, and you kept sending me emails, and I already told you, no, I haven't had a chance to look, this is a busy month, and you kept sending me emails.
So
I said next month.
So you schedule it for the next one.
I said I will get with you and we can try and schedule it next month.
So I'm not getting those emails and I'm on the subcommittee, so I've been left out completely. And I think that's unfair to me as a subcommittee. So what I'm gonna do is direct Lisa to be the one to schedule these, not the subcommittee. Because I didn't think that was our role. So Lisa, can you do that?
Amy asked me to.
Thank you. All right, and then I'm gonna request that they be in person not Zoom or Teams, because it doesn't work all the time. I think we need to have everybody there to humanly possible. So if we could do that, that would be great. Thank you.
If that's up to your subcommittee, if you wanna have it in person, I think if other subcommittees, it'll work in Zoom,
I'm
they
just
can
saying,
do that.
yeah, so because Robert's usually here with the Teams call anyway, so I can join y'all in the meeting here.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
It's on a different topic, because I know this has been cropping up and I've seen this as well. Have y'all been getting calls from residents about the gentleman who's mentally ill who walked, okay, making sure, because, I've noticed, he's been walking in the evenings, I've noticed more, and so I've seen people swerve, and just, okay, that was the main thing. 'Cause-
And as long as he's staying on the shoulder, there's no traffic violation that we can.
Oh, yeah, I get you can't ticket him, right, like, I'm not, more of a, I guess I'm hoping residents, if they're having concerns, are reaching out.
Oh, yes,
And there's
yes.
two people, I got a lot of notifications about a guy in an orange shirt last week. Is this the same person?
Probably taller gentleman, kind of curly
Different, it was
hair.
in the middle of the street?
Yeah,
Well,
it's the same guy.
He walks, yeah, but I just, more so I want to make sure, like, that y'all, I assume y'all are aware, but rather than assuming, I wanted to actually ask.
Yeah, we're getting him, anytime we get calls, he usually, when we get behind him, get out of the road, he gets out of the road. I mean,
Unfortunately, 2 minutes later, or something, he gets back in there. I had to swerve
Yeah.
around him twice yesterday.
Yeah,
And his brother lives here. I did reach out to his brother. His brother just said just to reach out to you all. I'm also reaching out to Williamson County.
Mental health.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the whatever hotline or whatever. There's some serious concerns there. I know that if you look up his record, indecent exposure is probably in there like 5 or 6 times. So it is there's some safety issues that we need to address. I know you guys are doing everything you can.
Yeah, I just want to touch base with y'all, because like, I guess it knows, like, usually he's been more to the edge of the curb, more during the daylight, but I've noticed him more in the evenings, more in the
Yeah.
road, so. Just concerned, I'm worried someone's gonna hit him.
So, may I just have one more final question? So is he appeared to be a mental
Absolutely.
health? Okay.
Yes,
absolutely.
So do y'all notify mental on this when you have?
only if we have a reason
Okay.
to. I mean, he's walking on the side of the road, he's kind of flailing his arms sometimes, but with just that, they'll come out and evaluate him as long as he's not a danger to himself or others, until like he is actually in the road long periods of time. I mean, there's really nothing. we
Or
can
naked.
do.
All right.
He's often naked walking in roads, so
Okay.
it is a serious issue.
Thank
Okay,
you.
let's move on.
Thank you.
We have a lot going on. Communications Subcommittee, special events.
Special events, the only items we have were just that Memorial Day is coming up on May 29th, so we'll be shutting down the office that day. We'll obviously be posting it. The other item is we'll be working with the Lockhouse OA for the 4th of July event. And so we're working on that now.
Okay, newsletter.
Same thing, newsletter. The subcommittee actually did get to meet yesterday, and a couple of items on the newsletter. We're working on the June newsletter now in May, so we're always gonna be trying to work a month ahead, so that way we make sure that we give people ample time to, participate in any calendared events, as opposed to missing them by the time they're reported, exactly. So if you guys have any topics, we'd love to be able to add those in even for future. I did speak with Director Roberts in regards to possibly bringing CD&P in for the July newsletter. So we will have some time to do a kickoff party in May, and then kind of talk with them about doing that in July.
Okay, just be sure to add the tidal waves scheduled meets
Absolutely.
in the newsletter.
Something to add to that is that they did take a look at our newsletter and they were impressed by it. We've been doing a good job already, so instead of trying to do a whole new one, they wanted to maybe try and improve it
Just
just a little bit.
elaborating a little, yep, exactly.
Great, yeah, I thought the last one was really good.
Yeah.
Who drew the short straw for the directors?
Oh, Amy's actually deciding that, so
Oh,
we'll
okay.
see which one she spins on next, and she'll reach out to you all. Please be mindful, she's on a deadline, so May 10th is our final on the actual newsletter itself, so she'll want your.
To showcase one of us.
Exactly.
Can I add about the email addresses?
Easy.
We have the new garden thing going up, and instead of inundating Lisa with having to introduce every new bed owner and stuff like that, we have somebody out there who's kind of taken over like a leadership role or an admin role of some sort. So what I'd like to do is get a fresh email address. It'll be like garden@blockhousemudtext.gov, and then when somebody emails that like, hey, I'm interested in a plot, then the gardeners can address that with the new potential gardener coming in there. And hopefully that will keep a lot of, Lisa will still be in the loop, but she doesn't have to babysit it. And, hopefully she won't have to do intros and, showing people around every time somebody wants to get
But you'll be copied on the emails.
Yes, well, I
Okay.
have access to it, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So do we need to, Sean, do we need to do anything? I mean, you used the word admin, so I was like, oh my gosh, we're using her like an admin?
No, she's a volunteer.
Okay, that's the word
Yeah.
I would rather use, okay. So basically, just signing the voluntary form, the release
Yeah.
form,
That's
just so
probably
that there's
a good
no
idea.
liability to.
Yeah, she's already signed.
Okay, let's move on. Social media policy. I am hoping we vote on this puppy tonight. So I'll make a motion to, or no, somebody else. Do I have a motion to approve this policy?
I'll do a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, discussion, Director Shoemaker.
Quick question about item 6 and I guess 12 or 13 actually. And Sean, maybe be the right person asking. District business, that I guess is defined essentially as like not just, I'll just use, okay, like directors having opinions about what we're doing here and expressing them in their capacity as director, right? That is separate from expressing things in the capacity of the district is doing, or the district, like, if that makes sense, like, I just wanna make clarification on that question.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, we're on number 10 here, correct?
Yes, agenda item, well, 12, I was asking a question about 6, and I guess was it 13, hold on, I lost the.
12C.
12.
And it's paragraph 6?
This is where that's where I started, there was one down here to talk, or I guess 11 too, kind of, he's on the same issue, like, that, when we get clarification where the line is between obviously conducting official district business on behalf of the board on our socials, right, personally, versus like just saying, hey, I'm going out to some event, great thing, please come, right, or, I have an opinion, come speak for or against this item, I'm in favor, right, I wanna.
To be sure, I think this policy is more about the official social media accounts of the district, so not necessarily yours. Does that make sense?
Yes, but that, I think I read 6 as like participation of individuals, like, that was where I wanted clarification on
Which one?
that.
It's
Uh,
6.
It talks about participation of individual social
Individual.
media accounts.
Mhm.
And then on 11, it talks about restricting access to any of their social media posts or communications that relate to district business. That's the place I need clarification, that's all. I get most of it's about like the official accounts of the district,
Right.
but that was where I wanted that, where your legal opinion fell on that.
So, under 6, so I think that should probably say board member use, as opposed to district use, individual social media accounts beyond those.
I don't.
So I think what this is getting at, David, under number 6, so this is getting at, we define the approved district social media on the first page. So this is just intended to say anything beyond that, any district use of any social media beyond what is defined needs to be specifically approved by the board.
Gotcha, that's what I figured, but when it
That's
comes
number
to.
6.
So, just to clarify that real quick, when it says individual, it doesn't mean my individual accounts, it means like Twitter versus Facebook versus Instagram.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
How about changing that to a social media, well, yeah, I think the district's social media accounts, not individual.
Well, I think there's a need to say individual, like to convey they're separate, right, like each platform, right?
Yeah.
But that was why I figured that's what it was, but I wanted to get confirmation, so I don't know if
So I know that
We
we
could
can't,
rephrase it to say, district use participation of social media formats not, included in this policy.
Okay.
Yeah. So we-
Of district accounts.
yes, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
because I mean, we literally, I think there's any comment opportunity at all on any of our social media, so it's really not an issue.
I mean, I think it's not, but
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to ask, it said individual, like, I figured that was what the answer was, but I wanted to get.
Okay, so did you have another question? 11?
It was just on 11, because it also what blocking, I assume it also relates to the district accounts, but again, that was just the clarification, because it says any of their social media posts.
This does have to do with individual.
Okay.
Social media accounts.
But it's only related to district business, correct, right? Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
Correct.
Okay, Director Johnson?
No, please, I'll wait my turn.
Okay, Director Young?
Nothing for me.
I think for me, it's historical reasons to block. It's my personal Facebook page, so I don't want to unblock anybody because I don't want them stalking me, and I don't ever really post anything that's political on my Facebook anyway. So, but I just don't think that is fair for our ability to communicate how we want to and our choice on who we want to be on our walls and who we don't want to be on our walls. So, and I don't think that's necessary.
So I took a class on social media with that City Essentials.
I remember you saying that.
And there actually is a law regulation that if you're an elected official, you cannot block your constituents. And I think even Trump or somebody had that issue with Twitter.
Paxton, I think.
Paxton had it, yeah,
Paxton
quite a few
issue.
people. So
Can we
if
state the law?
it's,
No, I think you.
Do we know what it is?
yeah, well, I think I sent you guys the PowerPoint many times ago, many months
I know
ago.
there was an issue with this where he ended up in court.
To be sure here, this deals specifically, this talks about poster communications related to district business. That's an open record at that point, so I mean, it needs to be visible to everybody.
Yeah, so if you do go on to,
The MUD site with comments and somebody saying, hey, thank you, MUD, for picking up on, helping out and doing the branch pickup, and if you're gonna go and make comments on that, the rest of the directors and every resident should be able to see what you're contributing to that MUD page.
But that also brings into the fact that all my posts are limited to my friends only. So it's like, if you're not a friend, you can't see it anyway.
well, if you go on to neighbors and comment on something, I think anybody can,
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
yeah.
But I just think it's kind of taken away our freedom of our control of our individual pages.
It has nothing to do with your individual page. It has nothing to
You're
do
talking
with
about just commenting about the district on, like I go in and comment on.
on
your
neighbors
story?
or something, yeah,
Which
yeah,
is-
yeah.
I'm not a big social media guy, but I think usually, a lot of times you have flexibility with individual posts or communications where you can change it on that particular communication, so.
Yeah, but you could put public, but then if you have somebody blocked, it's still, that person is not gonna
Maybe
be able to
less
see
advice,
it.
just don't post anything.
Yeah, you could do that, definitely. Yep,
Oh,
I know,
Not district business, that's what I was looking to clarify.
yeah, not just a business. Okay,
I have,
Director Johnson.
yeah, that section just gave me pause too. So I guess district business, so, hey, come out, well, I guess it's not a district event, but hey, come out to the July 4th thing or the disc golf, festival, the event on the 13th, is that district business?
I think so.
Okay, and for example, I'm just trying to think of something we didn't all agree on. At this most recent meeting, the MUD voted to take down the fence out in the front, and I voted against it because I don't believe it. That's district business too?
It's definitely district.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just trying to clarify in my head, and it's the law that we have to do it this way, is that right?
I know when you talk about district business, if you talk about a district matter, that's your communication as an elected official.
Okay, well, if it's the law, then.
Will you get the law and cite it for us and send it out, so we know what it is?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on this policy?
No.
I have a motion.
I actually had one item I wanted to.
There's one comment, because I thought there was a time in discussion that we had that if Lisa felt it needed to turn on comments.
It's in here.
So, because it says here, all comments will be turned off, for example, however, okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, okay, any more discussion? Okay, all in favor of this, yes.
Can I motion, do you mind? I have I just wanna, I'm sorry, I'll let you finish your motion, how about that?
No, I think we already had a motion in a second, so do you have an
my
amendment?
apologies. Yes, I thought we could amend it with the language that David and Sean were discussing.
Yes, absolutely, clarify, number six.
Number six, yeah.
Yes, amend the motion to clarify that language on number 6.
And I'll second his amended.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Great, good job, everyone. Okay, next item. I'm trying to get back up to my agenda real quick, sorry, guys. What's the next item?
Restricted covenants?
Transparency.
Oh, transparency, that is right. Transparency.
Transparency.
There was no action on the newsletter. There's a decision there, but we don't need any,
Correct. Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
I think you're good.
Okay, so transparency, there's something I'm gonna discuss under code of ethics, so there's nothing that I have here. Number 14, resident survey.
I did wanna
Sorry,
make a comment on that, so do we need to make a motion
to
to
what?
discuss
No, what do you want to discuss?
I want to talk about, we're on emails address, everybody should be using their emails, but I was at the CASE conference Director 101 today, and they were talking about text messages, and I realized I do text message with Lisa quite a bit. TPIA request have like a 10-day turnaround. I could be out of the country for 2 weeks at a time at a moment's notice for what I do for professional, and we wouldn't be able to fulfill that. I'd like to open up for discussion. Maybe we can start coming up with some solutions in the near future, but.
Actually, Robert, I think as long as Lisa's got her end of the conversation, wouldn't that be sufficient, Sean? Like, you need, if it's a two-person, as long as you got one end available to be sent to the AG if you need to withhold. So as long as she's got her end is in the 10-day window,
So
your end is safe, I think, right? So.
Well, you know, there is some redundancy there. My thoughts are, we set up a phone number, and then when we're communicating with Lisa, or if I need to text you on something that we're doing on a subcommittee or anybody, just put that phone number in the group. It all goes there, and then if there ever is a TPIA, then they could just take that data. We got it all here for you tomorrow, right?
Is that what they suggested at the,
No,
conference?
they just were pointing out that it's a difficult one, and that's the direction that we're going, but
Okay.
I don't want TPIA requests to be bogged down by myself or having to be without my phone for a day or something like that while the texts are getting pulled off of it. But if we had a phone number that we basically put a CC on, it would have all the data in there, who sent what to who.
Okay, so this is good information, something new to think about, so let's chew on it, maybe have it on another agenda in the near future.
And so the topic would be transparency, TPIA with regards to text messages and what kind of solutions that we can come up with that would make things best for
All right,
everybody.
thank you for sharing that. 14, resident survey, do we have anything on that?
We don't have anything yet on it. We are still waiting to do that kickoff with CDMP to get that going.
Okay, what's the timing, do you all think?
Are we working to schedule that already?
Yes, we're working to get, I think Amy's already got it
Okay.
scheduled.
Fantastic. 15, restricted covenants, report from and directives from Cam.
So, really the only thing of relevance to the board that came out of the meeting was kind of an informal policy that, we'd like to create about, tree removal. So obviously tree removal is a big topic right now. And so not everybody is waiting to hear back. They're not either submitting the application to the the committee, or they're not submitting the application to the committee to remove the tree. So I think the informal policy, considering how many trees this probably covers, the suggested informal policy is that Cam would check, see if there's an application that's been submitted. If not, okay, is there a health and safety reason why the tree was removed? And if yes, then that would be fine, there's no covenant action, and then we give them a healthy amount of time to replace the tree, if replacing the tree is required, which it may not be, depending on how many other trees they have and what kind of tree and where they are.
So you all are working on a policy, the subcommittee?
That actually is the policy, which is an informal policy, but
Okay.
I'm bringing I'm happy to document it.
Well, I guess you just said a
Yeah, I think
healthy
David's trying to
time.
make the policy more of a formal policy than an informal policy.
I guess I just would want to define healthy time. You said a healthy time to replace it.
yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, you're thinking about like the cycle, right? Like, if we're late spring, you really shouldn't plant a new tree in summer or really even fall, you're talking about, if you wanna do it right when the tree doesn't die, you're probably looking at like next spring, right?
So like a full year, maybe.
From
I
now.
mean, it's not optimal, but I'd rather not have people like plant trees and then be like, why didn't you plant this tree? It died in the summer, right? I gotta buy a new tree,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and I know you're saying from right now, but we could have another event, 2 or 3 months from now. So it'd be
Of course.
from the time that the tree left, you know.
Right,
It
yeah.
could be, we could give a year grace period.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to bring it here as a formal policy, but we talked in the committee about bringing it to the board and just letting everybody know, since, obviously it's an important issue that a lot of people are dealing with.
A lot of people are impacted by
Director
it.
Johnson, if I may, the memo from the subcommittee meeting that we had yesterday
Mhm.
was sent out in the supplement packet today, and it
Right.
did include that information as well.
Great.
Yeah, so
So
actually those
everybody
meeting notes are great. They're very helpful.
Yeah.
Sean?
Well, I don't have anything else, but so I'll note in the minutes here that that is the informal policy for the next year, I guess through next spring.
Yes, unless of course, like Director Logan said, there's another freeze that requires us to, but for now.
So what I was hearing actually is that it's our informal policy from now indefinitely, but the informal policy is going to be 1 year. You have a year to replace your tree.
Right, I mean, we didn't get that specific, but as a function of necessity.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
you know.
Not that,
We want to encourage people, if they're gonna repair their landscaping, to make sure it actually sticks, right? Like.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Anything else with restricted covenants? There's 16A. Do you have anything on that? The 15361 English River Loop?
No, I don't think anything that needs the board's attention.
Okay, let's go on to finance and audit.
It's good to see you, Nur.
Thank you. For those of you, I haven't met you yet, but I've been here a couple of months ago, depending on if Taylor's available or not. Y'all have seen the report, in the packets. If you go to page 2, you'll see the checks for approval at today's meeting, all the way down to 21,792. We had to transfer 172K from tax pool to cover these, checks. And there was an additional, cash flow. We did an additional transfer of 20,000 to cover the TNT Stars and Stripes checks and the credit card, invoice that closes mid-month. The lockbox account, the accounts receivable account, you see those every month. We fund that $20,000, and your construction fund at a penny just to keep it open. Page 7 has all your accounts per fund, and all together, you see the amount at the bottom there. Your March actual versus budget comparison is the following 3 pages. Your balance sheet, you have your district debt service payment schedule, where you can see at the end of March, we paid your interest due and some principal. Next payment will be till October. Tax analysis spreadsheet for the month of March, 98% collected, and your 5-year cash flow that's in the report every month.
Great, okay, do I have a motion to approve the bills and invoices and transfers?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I do have a question on the TNT Stars and Stripes. The invoice caught my attention because there's no tax ID number, there's no email, there's no
I have
address.
received everything now.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, is this person a resident of Blockhouse?
I do not know that.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Okay, do they use the fields, chance fields?
They do.
Okay. All right, just to make sure, and did we verify, because I actually had somebody look at this invoice, and they said it was very excessive for the cost, but there's no itemization on how many sheets of sheetrock they put up. Do we have that?
Yes, they're actually gonna replace all of the sheetrocking
Okay.
in the
So how much are we
restroom
talking
and in the guard shack as well.
Okay.
So I don't know how many sheets it is, but we're taking all of it out, removing all of it and replacing it. I did speak with Lisa Cooch with TML, and they are actually covering the entire cost of all of this, including the extra lighting. We do have a $1,000 deductible. We did receive $8,000 in change back in January. We are receiving another check, and it was actually mailed out today. So the insurance company, she had no problem covering it in full.
Yeah, I think just in the future, I don't recommend the district take an invoice like this that looks so plain, like they just went down a book, because it tells me they're probably very new in the business.
Oh, no, he's had many years, but I understand.
Yeah,
No, I
that's
mean,
a
when I
concern.
saw it too, right away, it was like, hey, we need a W-9, we need
Yeah.
everything before we release any checks, for sure.
And you got all that?
Yes.
Great,
And I think just because I'm concerned about the cost and, you know, maybe using a resident, maybe gotta kind of be a little careful with that, because if it goes south, it may not work out very well.
Sure,
for
I
some
got many
reason.
recommendations from him. I appreciate that.
yeah, and we have a resident, Michael McKelvey, that's
Yes.
one of our
No, I don't know,
contractors.
yeah, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
just the credentials on this, I don't know anything about him, I didn't know what was going on, and then I saw this and I was like, this is just a little excessive here.
Yeah, so I think Lisa did her due diligence, so I want to thank you for that. Okay,
So what are
any
the
more
Apple,
discussion?
what are the Apple.com invoices, what are those for?
I actually have those redacted. They're for our security.
Okay.
Okay, so they're for our security, okay, so okay. I just was, never know why we were buying Apple invoices, or we're paying for Apple, so I was just curious. Okay, thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
So we do have a report from the Finance and Audit Subcommittee. We did,
Can I ask one more quick question on that? Then it was, he has not done the work yet?
No, he's actually going to start on it hopefully tomorrow.
All right, again, I'm gonna ask that you hold that check, and then upon the inspection of his work is complete, correct?
Half of the check goes to him now for materials, the other half will be held until he's done, and then I'll do a walkthrough with him, like the way I do all contractors, and then we'll pay him. Yes,
So
ma'am.
he's requesting half of this money?
He needs materials, yes, ma'am.
we had another contractor do that last month.
Absolutely, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we kind of maybe, I mean, if they're running a fluid business, they shouldn't have to ask for half. It's my opinion.
they're not asking for half, they're asking for the material cost, so that could be 90% or that could be 10%.
And that's also doing business too. So,
Okay. I do want to, David, we want to report on our subcommittee meeting. We came up with an idea. We are going to meet this next 2 weeks. We are going to work on some suggestions to amend the budget. There's several reasons for that. We're going to work with Lisa and with Mac on that. One, this budget was set by a almost completely different board. I think there were different priorities. We did have the storm. We have the GM contract. We have some things that have come up that we did not foresee. And so I think we need to amend and make things match. We're gonna put a GL code down for storm, for BG&E, for Spyglass. And the other reason is we're about to go into budget season. And I think it would make a lot of sense for us to look at a budget that we all kind of agree on and have, made priority of where we're spending money. So Dave and I will get together, we will come up, we're not gonna completely redo it, we're just gonna come up with some areas that we think we need to kind of change. We'll bring it to the board, you all can vote on it, and then that will be where we'll go, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you all know, it's pretty common to amend a budget once or twice, throughout the year. You don't wanna do it every month, but there has been some concerns about running a deficit, and I do wanna address that just quickly. We don't have all of our revenues in. Water, is pretty big in the summertime, so we'll get more in there. We're halfway through the year, so what you see now is not necessarily where we're gonna end up. But again, because we have had some costs that we did not anticipate, that's why we're going to look at where we budgeted and what we need to do, okay? David, do you wanna add anything to that?
No, I think that does it, like you say, lots of changes have occurred in terms of like the storm, et cetera, so it'd be good to have that in there.
And actually, I guess what I would add is, if you all have any ideas or suggestions, please shoot them over to Lisa, and then she can add that to our discussion when we're doing this. So expect to look at that in May.
I think it's a good timing to get it cleaned up and get it organized.
Yeah, I think it'll help us, a little bit smoother process when we do the budget. Okay, amenities, 20, report directives from Lifeguard for Hire. Hi, Eric.
Oh, you can go ahead and introduce the new
I think
manager
we did.
at the last meeting, okay.
Yes.
Hello, everybody, thanks for having me. Just two items to report to you all. We were informed by the GM's office that there's a private Boy Scout event on May 7th. So we were also told that we're not going to be needing lifeguards. So we just wanted to recommend that there is certified lifeguards on site. So if you need us to come, just let us know. The other thing we wanted to report is we have a new VP of operations starting May 15th. And he has a wealth of experience in the aquatic industry, so we're really excited to have him. So collectively, he and I will be managing the Blockhouse account, and that's it for me.
Great. Okay, any questions? Okay, 21, thank you. 21.
Do you mind if I just jump in here real quick?
Sure.
And talk about not only a potential amendment with Lifeguard for Hire. So board members may recall when we did the Lifeguard for Hire contract last October, I believe, Lisa and I had kind of put a marker there that we might need to come back and do an amendment to account for the Brevo considerations. After talking with Brevo and previously, Rec Desk was in the old contract. We knew that was coming out. We pulled that out. And there was just a question as to how much, if any, Lifeguard for Hire would be participating with the Brevo system. I think the answer is little to none, if any. So I think the only thing there for consideration was, I think as a as a fail-safe or redundancy measure in the past, if rec test has gone down, historically lifeguard for hire has just made people sign in. And so the thought is that we'll shift to that, and I think that's likely acceptable on the lifeguard for hire side.
Make the lifeguard sign in or the patrons?
The patrons, yeah. Now, with that said, there has been some questions. Department of State Health Services actually put out some new administrative rules this spring relating to pools. So to be sure, our firm has done some internal guidance for all of our clients that have pools. And there are some things that I'm gonna go back and probably visit with Eric on, just to make sure. There are several things. There's applicability here to both Leander ISD, tidal pools, and then also lifeguard for hire. But the requirements in the code include stuff like official lifeguard staffing plans, emergency action plans, minimum rescue equipment, all stuff that is likely already taken care of, but in some instances just need to be papered up. And so I think we'll work with those guys, but next month we might have an amendment to that contract just to make sure we're papered up. Relatedly, should I talk about,
Yes, please.
excuse me, so as it pertains to tidal waves had actually reached out to us in consideration of these rules. There are, the guidance that has been offered by the state, and these are new state enforcement guidelines, there's a little bit of ambiguity with them, but it looks like in the past, the biggest change here is that in the past, you could have a lifeguard who is also functioning as like a swim coach in need, and that would satisfy your lifeguard requirement. The new rules make it explicitly clear that you've got to have independent lifeguards who are there only lifeguarding. Even if it's a swim meet full of lifeguards, you have to have 2 people assigned that are specifically lifeguarding the event. And so I think I need to go back and look at the tidal waves contract. I'm not sure if that is required. I know that their season starts up soon. So I would like for you guys, if you're comfortable with it, in the past, you might remember on LISD twice, that we did a letter agreement with LISD to cover COVID considerations at the pools when they were using the pools. And so I would recommend that the same here with tidal waves. If you guys will just direct me to work with tidal waves to enter into a letter agreement in between meetings, just to make sure that we've got the lifeguard requirements tightened up in their contract and anything else that are present in the pools. Happy to speak to any questions that you might have.
So did you confirm, are we a Class C or a Class A pool?
Eric, can you help us there?
I believe Class C if I recall, but I will
Okay.
definitely find out and confirm that for you.
And that is one of the things that's a bit ambiguous throughout the rules, is they define Class A, Class B, Class C. But they don't, there's not great clarity throughout the rules about that, but I'll work with Eric.
So, Eric, if you would work with Sean on an urgent basis on that, because this will impact tidal waves. They're about to start the beginning of May, and that will change how they're scheduling their coaches. So Tom has always said we're a Class C, but when Sean and I were reading it, it's not really clear. So we need to have, not just, we're a Class C, but we need to have some sort of true definition so we can prove we're a Class C. It's my understanding, tidal waves, you're gonna have lifeguards there, official lifeguards there for meets.
Yes,
but-
they're already contracted with.
But the concern is during practices. Okay, so that will be an urgent thing for y'all to work on, if you don't mind. Okay, any other questions from the board on that?
You know, that brings up a good point, because I see a lot of chatter sometimes about why can't we just go in and use our pools whenever we want to? And I think a good definition is the difference is we're government owned. Is that why there's, okay. So I think that would be a good newsletter.
To be sure, I know there are HOAs. I've got friends that represent HOAs. There are some HOA pools out there where you can just go in with your father and swim.
But they're not a government entity.
Right, but I don't even know with these new rules if they're applicable, if you can get away with that anymore.
I was just curious because it would be nice
Dishes.
to explain that to the residents that think that we're not allowing them to use the pools when they feel free to do it. And I've always known that it's because we're government.
Yeah, that's what I was told.
I used to have that question. I mean,
Did you? Yeah.
a while back, but I used to be like, no. I know
Okay.
HOAs.
Makes sense.
Let's move forward. So proposal, so we don't have anything to, proposal number 22.
21.
Well, there's nothing,
Brevo.
no, he already discussed that.
Sorry.
Okay, so number 22, the line replacements?
No action on 21, correct?
Well, it was a directive.
Okay.
So this one actually, it actually does say Tomlinson Pool, but it is for the line replacement at both Apache and Tomlinson Pool, correct? So that's gonna be a total of $4,545, and we do need approval on that.
Is it But this looks like it's just one lane line?
It's actually for all of the rope lanes, for Apache Pool and for Tomlinson. We have two, at the Tomlinson and the remainder go to Apache.
I thought they were 4,000 each,
No?
according to this. Okay, so 4,000 for all lane lines
That's
that we
correct,
have.
that is correct.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve 22?
You got a motion.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, my clarification will be a little bit more clear exactly what we're doing on if this is for Tomlinson and Apache, so that we, if we have to get it audited, we know what they're.
Yes.
The agenda says Tomlinson and Apache.
Yeah,
But the
they,
invoice does
yeah, they
Okay.
are just sending one, so.
Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, number 23.
Item 23, you'll see for pool covers at Apache Pool for your lap pool as well as the kiddie pool. Total's gonna be $13,243.77.
Motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, discussion, Director Johnson?
Yeah, I was just, so they're old and in disrepair, is that what we're
Yes,
replacing?
absolutely. You've got the underside tethering floating in the pool, not covering it.
So these will, they come with a cover, right? They'll be covered when they're on the reel. Okay, thank you. And, again, as soon as,
I apologize, I didn't understand what you just said.
I think usually when you put on a reel, there's a cover that you can put on them, so it
Oh,
doesn't, the
okay.
weather doesn't.
That's
get
not
to
how
it.
it used to be, but that's how it is now.
That's right. That's the reason why we're having to replace them, but they will be covered moving forward, so that way they don't get sun damage.
Well, these are the big, long things that cover.
Yeah.
So that makes sense, yeah.
That's why it's $2,600 for shipping.
Another quick point I want to add to that is we're planning to store that on the other side of the pool so that as it comes in and out, it won't be going over the diving boards and causing further damage to it, so we're looking to move that to the other side.
Yeah, that was
It's
something.
Easier in and out.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
See you, Monday.
Yeah, when we had our pool meeting, it was Katie Weeks that brought, she's like, yeah, this is always happening. We're like, well, then why don't we do it on this side? So, one of those.
My only comment has always been historical for serious, don't put it next to the fence, you just
Yeah.
got people stepping stone
They
in
won't.
and out of the pool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay, so do we have, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 24, Priority Landscapes trip is under the weather tonight.
We only have two proposals from him. His report is in the packet. We have proposals for, let's see, the mosquito treatment out at Tomlinson and Tonkawa for the 4th of July, and then also for tree removal by Certified Arbor. And in the report, you'll be able to see the areas of the trees that need to be removed, and this is after the winter freeze. These trees have been trimmed, and unfortunately, they're not able to be saved, so.
Motion.
Hate taking that tree out of the
I
patchy.
know.
That big one out front.
It just looks so retarded.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible, but
Do we have a second?
second.
Well, real quick, is that for, we're doing a second for both motions or just the
Yes,
tree
I
one?
did both motions. I did motion, for
The mosquito treatment
mosquito
of the trees.
and the removal of the
Okay.
tree. I'll make that clear.
And for discussion, I agree with both of you. It's sad, but it's necessary for safety. Okay, all in favor?
Just, I was saying, it's
Wait a
like an
minute,
awful
are
lot
we
for mosquito
removing this
treatment.
large elm?
Yeah.
It's not able to be saved.
Mm-hmm.
Lee and
Which
I
one
went out
was that?
there and we walked it with
The
Certified
big
Arbor.
one that fell in the street
Yeah.
last year?
Yeah, so, that's my concern is if it's not in good shape, I'm worried about
It's
that.
like a 200-year-old tree.
No, I know.
Yeah, everything that he tried as far as trimming it properly, it just can't be saved.
Okay.
Yeah, that's sad. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
More in the trees.
Okay,
I guess, quick question, what are they planning to do with the wood from those trunks or anything?
So I've spoken with Director Young, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna have them taken out to Jamato, and then we can decide if anybody wants to make any furniture with them, or if you want to dispose of them. It's up to you all.
Yeah, I think what we got, we'll have is some big thing of wood, maybe put out a poll to the residents. Maybe we can get a nice meeting table for the Mono Community Center or something like that.
Find a way to get residents.
Yeah, one of the
to
residents
use
took
that.
the other limb and made a table, he was Shable, took it last year, and it was hilarious watching him take it across the street. But is there any way that we could like make a carving out of that tree stump? I mean, that would be really cool, a chainsaw carving, you know?
We can have it moved and then bring it back for discussion at a later date.
Yeah, so once we have it moved, then we'll start figuring out what to do with
Residents
the
on that.
wood, because there could definitely be some valuable wood there.
okay. Number 25, a report from amenities subcommittee related action. I don't think we really have anything to
We don't
report.
have anything to report on the amenities, no, ma'am.
Okay, number 26, Blockhouse Creeks, tidal waves. You have the 2023 schedule submitted. We don't really need to vote on that. We did discuss the issue you have with the lifeguards. Is there anything else that you want to bring to our attention?
The only concern I had was when I was at the pool earlier today, the old schedule is still posted, so residents think that it's gonna be open come Monday and it's not.
Okay,
So I wanna make sure that we're not upsetting people.
sure.
We can try to get that
Yeah.
updated quickly.
Absolutely. I know it's on the website.
It is
but
on the
we-
website.
We will make sure that that's replaced. Also, your contract.
We submitted a red line contract.
Okay.
We were required to separate from the circuit this year. We've always been under them as a parent company. And they've asked all teams to come out on their own and have their own nonprofit. And so we're in the process of setting that up. And in that process, we had to change our name. So we redlined the contract with our new name. It's Tidal Waves at BHC. So it still has the Bulkhouse Creek in it and doing as much as we can to keep it. We'll still
Sure.
be doing business as Tidal Waves, but it does have a new official name.
Okay.
Cover that in the letter agreement.
Yeah, and we need to, bring that next month to vote on it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've submitted that to Lisa.
Okay, just make sure that's on the agenda in the packet.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
That's it.
All right, thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
Okay, practice fields usage and possible fees. I have this on here, Lisa was talking to me and she was like, you know, we don't really charge for anyone to use the practice field. And I just wanted to throw that out there if that's something that we want to consider.
Just to bring it to y'all's attention, in 2013, the district actually did charge
Yeah, we did.
$15 an hour for 1 hour and a half of usage. We did have some teams that would pay up to $300 for a season, but they really enjoyed the area, and I think it's a good idea for us to start looking at recouping some of that cost. Those fields will continue.
Okay, so let's
to be-
go around, we'll start with Director Johnson.
Well, I was just wondering, so what, I can't remember back that far. Was it more like Tumlinson, like just looking through the rules, right? Tumlinson you can use, but if you wanna reserve it, it's the fee to reserve it. Are we talking about $15 to step on the field or whatever it turns out to be? Or just to reserve the field but not to use it? So like to use the pavilion, right?
Oh, no, we're just talking about the
practice fields, right?
The practice field.
Right, I'm just wondering like fee wise, right, so to use the Tumlinson Pavilion, if I could go use it at any time.
You can.
But in order to reserve it, I have to pay.
Correct.
To reserve. So I'm wondering if we're talking, I can't remember how we used to do it, but like, are we talking about not to use the field, but to reserve the field? for
Correct.
use?
If you want to reserve it, like if you had a team that wanted to go out there and practice
Okay,
on Monday nights at 6, to reserve it, that's when you would have a fee.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Director Young?
Yeah, I'd like to, if we're gonna have a baseball field out there, I'd like it to look like a baseball field, not dilapidated and missing dirt, and the home plate was a couple inches above the rest of the dirt. So, if we're gonna keep it, I wanna keep it well maintained, and along with that goes, greater expenses. So, I'm thinking that maybe once we're done putting dirt in there, doing some maintenance on it, kind of give us a figure at the end, like, this is what we're looking at for regular maintenance, you know, to keep this up for the teams, and I'm not gonna try and have the teams pay all of that and such, but, let's see where we're at in another month or two, but I think the best bet is to kind of come up with some new numbers for, you know, price of inflation and stuff like that, but we'll have a field out there that people are happy to be playing out at, you know, year round,
Okay.
or whenever they're playing.
I would add, let's just look at what other fields are charging to use them, to get an idea, other MUDs or Cedar Park or whatever. Director Shoemaker.
I'd like to have a better handle of what the utilization actually is before we start charging. I mean, I think that we've got a lot of underutilized features and we don't charge people for a lot of stuff, so I mean, before we wait and ask people to pay money, let's see if we can make sure utilization's actually up there.
Yeah, it's pretty in high demand,
Okay.
especially during the spring.
I checked it out on Monday, and there was two teams there practice playing, and then there was a team waiting in the field
Okay.
to get on there at their reserve time at 6:30. I think that's kind of a Monday through Friday thing. There's currently no reservations taken for Saturday and Sunday, so that will impact the utilization numbers, but.
Okay, Director Roberts.
Yeah, are we also including Tonkawa, because there's a lot of usage on Tonkawa?
We actually are doing reservations at Tonko as well.
So it would include that,
include all-
not just the chance
That's
field?
correct. It would
Oh,
include
just
all
for a fee.
fields.
Yeah, you know, I think to get some serious users and, you know, and also some responsible users. I mean, it's kind of like this, everybody wants this field, and it's almost like, no, not every team gets an opportunity to use it because it's first come, first served, correct? And so, I think there's nothing wrong. I know we experienced, kind of experimented with it, and it didn't work out because it was like just a nightmare, but I think it's worth looking at and considering it to offset some of their usage. Because I think there's a lot of, yes, one resident can reserve it, but you know, who knows where all these other kids are coming from. And I know my grandson's playing now, and they don't use the fields. I think they go to CPYL and practice there, but I think it's probably time to consider it. I think that's just to get those teams to be a little bit more responsible, or at least have them do some cleanup days like they do at CPYL. You know, just kind of coordinate some of that.
We can put that into the cost of the reservation. You guys can pay the premium fee, or you could do work, you know, you guys gotta do a cleanup day once, you know, during the season, something like that.
Okay, let's work on it a little bit more and bring it back. Number 28, replacement of Tumilson Park Playscape.
So I don't have any proposals for you all today, but I did want to discuss the replacement of this playscape and how you all would like to move forward with it. It's a topic that has been a lot of discussion, and we need to actually start making an action move on this.
Can we get some bids, proposals, and then probably gonna have to go out for proposals and RFPs, so I think let's kind of look at that, and then also maybe wait until budget year.
I was
and add
hoping
that in
that,
there.
thank you, I was hoping that maybe we would be able to maybe put a subcommittee together that would be able to kind of help us focus on not just also design while we're gathering those bids as well, so I think it'd be a good idea to.
This was definitely something I think we want to get some survey input on as we get that survey stood up, and then how popular it is.
Maybe some resident input too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's gonna be between 500 and 700,000 probably to do it. I don't know if you know, but there's a new playscape, a new park over off of Little Elm. And you can go on the Cedar Park's website, and you can see their whole plan and how much everything costs. So let's talk about. Go ahead.
Can we, and Trent, that's what he does for a living.
I did reach out to Trent, he just made it clear to let him know when we were ready, and he'll come in and he'll assist us,
Okay.
whatever we need, so he's aware.
Let's use some of his expertise.
So I'm fine with the next budget year, but I think we wanna be ready to move so that when we do have the budget kind of planned out, we need to move on. I was up there, although I'm 200 pounds, that metal's kind of mushy. We've lost a slide, we just got a big black thing there. We've replaced 2 bridges that are not the intended, you know, balancing thing. I think that we should be moving on this as soon as the next budget does. Close it, tear it down, build up the next one, right after that. My point is, that's not gonna last a whole lot longer.
Yeah, it needs to be a priority. And we did have a resident that reached out to us about the safety of the swings. So are they unsafe right now?
They are not level, so you do have movement on the swings.
So
would it pass inspection?
I actually can pull an inspector out here, I would not know that for myself, but it would be something we could definitely have inspected.
So I think the complaint was that one of the, you know, the legs was coming up when somebody was big, and then it like would lean the thing. I went out there, I wasn't able to get any of those to
I wasn't
budge.
able to, I get one to move, it was the one on this corner. It was loose.
Yeah, I get the priority. I just think that this, given how prevalent it is they were able to use it, like if we're working that survey right, that'd be something to get the survey going, so you can then get people's
That could be
input.
our first survey.
That would be actually like a great idea, because we can get that
Yeah.
moving and get some inputs. We can get that done priority without
Yes.
having,
Okay.
like, why did you do this, why did you do that, right?
Okay, so we're all in agreement, it needs to be a priority. Okay, number 29, authorize district manager or general manager to purchase benches, wind screens, and additional lighting at tennis courts, basketball courts, and skate court.
I don't see them fit in here.
They're not bids, I didn't have time to pull those up. I can tell you that I did reach out to Suntech, they did come out and did provide me a proposal today. Just to add up lights for the tennis courts, it would run a little bit more than $3,700, but that will give us all the lighting that we need in the tennis court area. I can always bring back to you some proposals in the next month for the basketball as well as the skate hockey rink in the back, so we'll need some lighting back there.
Could you just bring all the proposals to us next month?
Yeah.
Sure can.
And would you make sure that it's downlight
Yes,
instead
absolutely.
of going outlight?
Yes, okay.
So when we talked in the meeting, I was talking about additional lighting from the post that we already have facing the
That's
basketball, but are we looking at, is that price for putting up more posts around the tennis? Because I think ideally, the lighting there, it is a bit faint for pickleballers at night. And maybe we could get something where there would be posts around the entire tennis courts, pickleball courts, so that it would be as well lit as they would like.
So just for the sports, I mean, for the tennis court itself, what they're gonna be doing is coming in with a, what they call a shoehorn. So they attach it to the poles that are already there. It allows for them to add 2 additional lights on each of the poles, so you'll have 4 new lights into the tennis court area without having to add additional poles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's gonna be more of just the lift and as well as the material itself, and then their labor.
Okay.
And I can bring back the other ones as well as our
Thank you.
proposals.
Yeah,
are
you get the
concerned.
sale proposal.
Absolutely.
Okay, good deal. Let's go ahead and go to 30.
So the pool tables, poolside tables, I do have a proposal in there from Uline. What I did is just try and go and find I tried to find plastic picnic tables that would be able to weather better as opposed to the metal and steel ones that we've had already. So I picked 3 that would allow for obvious use, and then 1 that would be ADA. We do have 2 other tables out there that are ADA, so we'd have a good ratio of ADA to regular tables. That proposal's at $5,623.
I apologize for interrupting. I was gonna say, those are replacing the tables we have now.
Absolutely.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the proposal for $5,623 to replace 3 tables? 4.
It's actually 4 tables.
Okay, sorry.
3 regular
Oh, and 1 ADA.
and 1 ADA. And they are, I'll motion, it's kinda interesting.
Second?
Yeah.
What was the motion again? Which item?
You lined the,
30.
4 tables,
Is it bigger? Is that why it's more expensive? I guess it doesn't matter.
ADA.
Yeah, it's less material.
Yes.
Same table, too.
Okay. Cool, well, are we on a second? Do you need a second?
We need a second.
Awesome.
Did you motion?
I did.
He did.
Oh, okay, okay, sorry. You did.
I'm very self-sufficient.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anybody opposed?
He was gonna vote for everybody too.
Oh, no, I was waiting for that. Do discussion too.
I do have one question. These tables will not rust on the deck.
That's
Yeah,
correct. These
that's-
are, yeah.
Okay, 31, GM to purchase lifeguard stand shades for Thomason Pool.
So the stand shades that we have out here are actually custom for Tomlinson Pool. In the past, Tom has been taking them to a guy that does upholstery. So that, to be able to be done including purchasing an additional one, runs a little bit more than $2,300. But these shades actually will last for many years, once we get them reupholstered, so.
Okay.
I'll need authorization on that.
Motion.
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 32, purchase 2 pickleball nets.
So we've already purchased 2 pickleball nets. This has become a hot commodity. We need 2 more. So it suffices all 4 pickleball courts that we have. Total's gonna be $839, I believe.
Motion motion to approve 2 pickleball nets. It's hard to say.
Motion.
Second?
Aye.
I have a question,
I did
or
second.
discussion?
I got you if you were saying.
Um,
Discussion?
We needed 2 and now we need 2 more. Did something happen to our first 2?
No,
These are
just
2 more.
use.
Okay,
People
I'm
are
sorry.
having to wait and they don't wanna wait.
Well, I understand, okay.
Fastest growing sport out there. Okay, all in
I did not
favor?
know that.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. And I just wanna say this, I said it last time, but I just wanna make sure, anytime you're bringing us a proposal, you have cleared it with Taylor to make sure that we've got funds, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't wanna have to ask you that every time, but I just want, for the record, wanted everybody to know that. Okay. 33, proposal from TNT Stars and Stripes, I think is what it's supposed to be, for repairs at Tomlinson Pool, guardhouse, and restrooms. We already did that.
That's what it is.
Well, we
No,
talked
we
about the
approved the
payment
check.
of it in
Yeah, okay.
financing, yes. So, Director Roberts did bring up a point that I'd like to, just bring back. I completely understand and respect that I do need to bring you more proposals from other, contractors. I am working at making a list. So as soon as I do, I will make sure that when I'm bringing these back, that it's not just one. I'll give you some to be able to pick from.
Yeah, because this guy wants 5,600 for demo, that's, he wants more for demo than he wants for the supplies and the sheet rock.
It's,
I mean, the
well,
sheet rock and the supplies, I think, are.
the reason for that is because when TML came out and they checked everything out, they didn't actually look behind the walls. And behind the sheetrock is where the most damage was at, and the demo actually does have some mold in it, and that's the reason for the additional cost on the demo.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, 34, HUC design information. Is there a discussion on that? Do you have anything, Lisa?
I don't have anything. I want to just bring this back to you all's attention. I did have several emails and phone calls that we've obviously gotten from residents in the district, as well as I spoke with the designers themselves, and they were not very happy with some of the cleanup that we've done during the freeze. And one of the items that the owner mentioned is that she stated that Blockhouse was required to keep the design as it was, or their name would have to come off.
Is that in their contract?
I did not read that in their contract anywhere.
Okay.
Or any of the other items that they've provided to us in the district in the past. However, I am holding on installing signs out there that do have their name all over it, because I want to make sure that we are properly posting signs and the design actually matches up to what they have mentioned.
Okay, aside from that, the owner of HUC Designs went out on Facebook and put down the board as well as a certain director, but the board as a whole as well. And I don't think that that's the type of behavior we want from any of our contractors. So I had Lisa reach out to her, and I think what she should have done is gone to the GM and said, hey, I'm concerned. I've heard X, Y, and Z is happening, when she didn't have all the facts, and you could have enlightened her. And she told you she was gonna do a retraction, and in fact, she didn't. So, I do have some concerns with that, but I guess we do need to find out if they wanna have their name removed from the course or not. And I also read the paperwork there, and it very clearly states they are not experts in environmental safety or sustainability. And the cleanup was all about safety, environmental.
And MS4 inspection coming up with the creek runoff water.
Yeah, so, I don't know if we have anything to do, an action item right now, but, if we need to bring them in and have a discussion with them, because we do need to get those signs back up, and if we need to take their names off of it, we can. So, I wanna go around the room real quickly, I don't wanna spend a lot of time on this, but Director Shoemaker?
What is the problem even? I'm still looking like, what is the issue we're trying to
The
address
issue
here?
was, some residents were upset with, the storm damage and how it was cleaned up.
Okay,
And,
yes, but I guess like, why does our contract, I'm thinking, the residents I get, they're our constituents, they're our taxpayers. Why is the contractor trying to leverage on us about how we're doing it? Like,
because
I'd like
these
to-
residents reached out to the contractor.
But does he have legal authority to be, like, I mean, Sean, I mean, is their contract say that we've signed?
I don't remember, it's a couple of years ago. To be sure, he is a renowned, board-renowned disc golf designer, so he lives close by, and well-regarded. I don't remember if that was in the contract. We can certainly look at it, and if they want their name off of it, we have to do the maintenance we have to do, is my thought. And if they want their name off the signs, I think so.
Well, yeah, I'm not necessarily disagreeable, I guess I don't understand why this is like a thing, like, just simply, hey, you changed it, please take our name, like, I don't understand why this seems to become a thing, that's
Director
why.
Shoemaker, if I may, one of the items that they mentioned is just that the GM or the district in a whole did not reach out to them and ask them for their advice, or consult with them in regards to the cleanup. But they also state in their documentation that that's not their forte. So we
Was
just,
that free consultation they were offering? Were they gonna?
none of their items are free.
Okay.
And
But
to-
if y'all, I'm still,
Yeah, and to be quite honest, we didn't consult Lifeguard for Hire when we had to take some trees down over by the pool. So we
Yeah.
didn't consult residents when we had to take trees down.
Or
Yes,
residents.
let's go, I had Shoemaker and I interrupted, so I'm sorry. Director Roberts, do you have anything?
I have nothing to say.
Okay, Director Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm missing some context here, but I mean, we will continue to clean up the neighborhood in the way this board best sees fit. Done. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I would be, just not a long time, but I would be interested to see if that bit about removing their name from the, even if it's not, maybe we do it anyway. I'm just interested to know if that's in there.
All right, Director.
I'm happy to see it, and just to be sure, I think they fancy their designs as being like a sort of artfulness that should be, and so I get that, but at the same time, that is subordinate to health and safety concerns of the district, so.
Yes.
So, Williamson County was also designed, there's quite a few in the area, HUC design courses. Those are all public courses, fully public. I was watching the PDGA this past weekend, and they were mentioning this is obviously a HUC design because this is going on there. The stance of Blockhouse at this time is we don't want a bunch of non-residents coming in and taking a look. His name is such that it would attract more people attempting to play the course, or maybe even successfully playing the course, that are outside of expectations that residents do have. My thoughts are that regardless, we remove his name from the signs, maybe even remove those signs. We've already been replacing those a few times. I want boulders out there with something steel that just has a number. It can be simple, just like they've got out at Williamson County. Those don't get vandalized or torn down or stolen because they're a nice shiny HUC sign that they can use as a souvenir. So my thoughts are, regardless of if we go with them in the future, I'd like to tone down the visibility of the HUC brand.
Do you think that's why the signs have been stolen, because it says HUC on
Really?
Could be. And they were brand new signs, right? Because the bent up ones over at,
To be sure, we purchased them directly through the house.
Yes.
What?
Absolutely.
I did not consider that.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think we have an action on this right now, but, let, Sean go back and look at what's in the contract and we'll bring it back, okay? Okay, so, next we're gonna go into the park rules, and if you'll please look in your packet, what we, pulled together, we went from 52, 49, something like that, to 15 pages. The idea is to have, basically, one set of rules for everything, general. And then there's a couple of areas where you have to have more specific rules, which would be like the pools, the sports courts, where, disc golf, maybe, I don't know if that's in there. The other thing is, we took out policies, because I don't think policies should be a part of the rules. We still have a standalone policy, but it doesn't belong in here. The other big thing we took out was the Walker House, because I was anticipating, making that change. Under the pools, there was a lot of, here's what lifeguard for hire is supposed to do, here's their procedures. That does not need to be part of our park rules, or, for everyone. So I would like for you all, let's start a discussion. Probably go around maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 times. So basically on page, I'm trying to see, my thing doesn't really show me what page, but we have the order in here, kind of saying our mission, and then we have the basic rules. Golly, where is it? I don't think mine's in order. And then we have the specific ones. So let's go ahead and I'll start with Director Shoemaker.
Are the deputies still here?
They've left, I believe.
I think they had a call.
Do you want to back?
Well, I mean,
Because they both left, which is really odd for them at the same time.
yeah, because I guess, I know one of the questions that come up is about like,
The
you know.
weather, they got calls on the weather.
okay.
Their cars are still here. You want me to go out and see?
Would you mind?
The deputy law is available, if they're doing their other stuff, I don't wanna stop them from doing that, I guess.
The storm is coming in.
Yeah.
Maybe we might want to hurry as fast as we can.
Because I guess, I'll say for the benefit of the board, I wanna talk to them briefly about, I know that there's been some discussion about like how our policies and change affect their ability to enforce general laws against things like drug use in public places, public alcohol, drinking alcohol in public, that kind of stuff. So I want to have a quick moment to ask them on the record, like, how they're, I don't think Sean can disagree with me if I'm wrong here, but I don't think our rules confer any authority upon them to enforce things that are already illegal. Beyond, they have authority as police officers, like, someone is publicly intoxicated, right? Absent our rules, they can still arrest and ticket them. Same for drug consumption, same for like fighting, or they're like, but I wanted to get that on the record. We can move on to other discussion if y'all want. Since they're here, I want to have that discussion briefly on the record.
Okay, I'm gonna pause for a second, guys. So there is some severe weather coming in, baseball-sized hail in Temple. This is going to be a lengthy discussion. I know you have a long drive home. So, sorry guys, we may have called you in for sure. But, I want us to, because there is some serious weather coming in, this is gonna be a lengthy discussion. Can we please hold this to next month? I hate to do that, I've been pushing for this, I know everybody's anxious, but I know Sean's got a long drive home. I don't wanna be driving home in baseball-sized hail.
Yeah, we got, lightning 13 miles from us.
Yeah, so let's look at the agenda real quick. That can be on hold. Sorry, guys.
Do we need to go over any of the reports that are still in here?
Yeah, so that's why I was gonna look at the agenda just real quick and see what,
So we're gonna basically table 35.
Yeah, and
I've got no action items, so.
if you would like to leave, go ahead and leave.
No, but I've got no action items.
Yeah, okay, but I don't want you driving home in a storm, so if,
I will do what you want me to do.
yeah, go on.
I mean, it looks like we got a decision items on 37B, the crossroads.
The only thing I have is just ratifying the previous proposal from last month. It went up $4,000 because it became a 5-ton, not a 1-ton.
Do you need a motion to do the write-off?
No,
Right.
no write-offs.
Okay, that's why I want to make sure.
Yeah. Okay, so do
So
I-
you need a decision on 37C, so I'll make a motion to approve the change on 37C.
To ratify it. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
All in favor?
Okay, aye.
Aye.
I'm good with that. Okay, there is a discussion, I think that we wanna have on TDS, but I think we can hold that till next
Yeah,
month. Sean,
Yes.
do you have anything that you need to report on?
Your legal.
Do you have any legal stuff you got?
I don't think so. The only thing, Jan Pro renewal,
Nothing changed.
nothing changed.
Nope, not even the price.
Motion to
Okay.
approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so then I think everything else we can hold until next month. If we feel like there's so much that we held off, we can have a special meeting if needed. And I apologize, guys, but I know Lisa's gotta drive home. The GM contract is in here. Thank you, Andrew, for being here, and it is redlined for her to be full-time. We will take that into consideration when we're amending the budget, and then just be ready for you all to discuss it next month. Okay?
Motion to adjourn?
Do I have a second?
Second. All in favor?
I did, I gave it to you.